All right, greetings everybody. This is Dr. Valerie Simpson. I am a chaplain and a part of the psychosocial team with Guardian Angel Hospice, an organization that has been in existence now for 30 years. It was uh, it was organized and it was started by our president of the company, Sam Kassab, after an accident occurred with his son, a young son at the time. I think he was about 6 years old. And they were looking for the type of care that this child would need to recover. And we're having a difficult time finding it. So they decided to provide something that was obviously a big need for society. And so, as you can see, the banner says it's Guardian Angel Hospice, home health and hospice care. So whether your loved one just needs assistance and takes medications and they need assistance with their daily, um, they're called ADLs, or their daily responsibilities for living, just the basic things like washing, feeding, cooking, those kind of um, things that they may not be able to do for themselves. But hospice, home care, and the hospice care is separate, but the home care would be able to assist with those things such as administration of medications, having doctor's visits, also to assist with the bathing and watching for wounds, changes in conditions, and reporting it until they're able to recover fully or become functional again. If by chance there is a need for hospice care, we are able to provide hospice care for you. And the hospice care will include a doctor that will make home visits. There will be a nurse that will make visits at a minimum of twice monthly, but they can be more frequently. It just depends on what the needs are and what your requests are. There's also a social worker to make certain that all the resources that are available to you through either the government or other services from hospitals and organizations, they would be able to assist you with that. You have the health aide to assist with the bathing, and also they're trained to watch for wounds and for progression, signs and symptoms of either progression of the disease or report that there are improvements. Then there's the chaplain, which is again, along with the social worker, a member of the psych social team, and our job is to be certain that you are comfortable emotionally, because whatever affects you in either your mind, your decision making, your emotions, your conscience, all of those things have an effect on the body, and they determine the level of healing, the pace of healing, and they can also determine if you're going to decline. So there are some things that I'd like for you to know so that you can live a lifestyle that's going to be conducive to recovery for those that are not terminal, and for those that are, we're going to be certain that you are as comfortable as you can possibly be in those days and in those stages of the illness. Now, today, last week, we talked about one of the hormones in the body. This particular hormone is called oxytocin, and it was discussed to help you to find ways to cope and to use these different strategies and mechanisms to cope with both your sickness and the sickness of your loved one, so that it doesn't bring any undue stress, and it can also bring an adverse effect to what the sickness has brought upon you. So whatever the stress is doing to you, the anxiety is doing to you, we'd like to avert that. So that's why we are taking this time to come to you, and I want to bring to you some strategies on every week. So right now, what I wanted to do is work in the area of self-care. That is probably going to be by far the biggest thing that caregivers need to be aware of and concerned with. In addition to that, those that are contending with these afflictions or these maladies would need to know these things to help them. Now, I will say that there are mechanisms that you can use, not and as a disclaimer, not as a replacement for the medications and therapy that your doctor or that your clinicians, other clinicians may have in place. But these are mechanisms that certainly do work. And the more you use them, the more you find that you can manage and take control of your emotional status. Now, oxytocin was what we talked about last week, which was the first topic in the study, which is one of the feel-good hormones. This week, we want to talk about serotonin. In this series of self-care, there'll be a number of series, will come every week, but on this week, we want to talk about serotonin. So let's take a look at that particular hormone. So serotonin, just a second, is one of those hormones that are categorized as the feel-good hormones. And this particular hormone stands alone in many ways. And so we'll talk about that in just a second. All right, so serotonin, let's take a closer look at that. All right, so serotonin is a neurotransmitter. Neurotransmitters are the cells, or those are the messengers that work between the brain and the body cells. When something happens in the brain, whether it's pain or whether it's anxiety, whatever it is, if it's a mental, issue, or if it is a physical issue that is or impacting you mentally, then the neurotransmitters travel through the body from the brain, sent by the brain to address that concern. So serotonin is one of those neurotransmitters that moves cells through the body, and it tells the body to address whatever the concern is. Serotonin is very important because it does directly impact, or it's directly associated with anxiety, appetite, mood, memory, social behavior, sexual desire and function, sleep, and social behavior. So these areas of the body can be impacted by your serotonin level. So as you can see, this is a very important hormone for your body to have a good, healthy level of at all times. Because if you are impacted with anxiety, then it also sends messages to release other hormones that are sent to address the anxiety or depression or frustration. And too much of it in the system can suppress the immune system. So you always want to manage your anxiety and not live in a state of anxiety. That's why we're coming to you today to tell you about them, what they are, how they work, and how important it is to manage them, and then to give you a few ideas and tips on how to manage them. So look at the things again that they are directly associated with: anxiety, again, appetite, mood. And if you're noticing, these are indicators: mood, memory, if you're having a problem thinking, making clear decisions. It's a part of, it could very well be that there are low serotonin levels in the bloodstream, in the body. Social behavior, it can be a very difficult thing, both for the individual struggling with the low serotonin levels, as well as the family and those that are caring for them and that are surrounding them. Also, the sexual desire and the function that is of importance, your sleep. And we're going to talk about that a little bit better. those social behaviors, you want to be able to manage that so that you can continue to have the support that you need. It's important to look at that. All right, so let's go into some more of the indicators that there are low serotonin levels in the body. Okay, so indicators of low serotonin levels include depression. So even depression could be related. It may not be that you have a mental disorder. It may mean that your anxiety levels are simply low, are simply high, and your depression is high because your serotonin levels are low. So be encouraged about that. So weight gain, you're starting to gain weight because of eating patterns. That can be related to the serotonin levels. This is something for you to consider. Everything that I will be talking to you about and bringing before you will be non-pharmacological, meaning it won't include drugs. So it won't interfere with what the doctors are saying, but you do want to talk to them about these indicators or these signs and symptoms that may very well be low levels of serotonin. Now, you don't want to just begin to grab hands of serotonin and, handfuls of it and take it and, fill your body's bloodstream up with them, because you can have high levels of serotonin that can create other problems. So always talk with your doctor about that. That is just a disclaimer. Diabetes, because it's supposed to take the blood, the sugars out of the bloodstream. So it affects the pancreas and interrupts the balances of your blood sugar levels. So it can even go as far as to cause diabetes, or it can aggravate the condition. Other indicators are disrupted sleep patterns. I can't sleep. I keep waking up in the middle of the night. I keep going back and forth. I'm laying here and I'm trying to go back to sleep and I can't. So disrupted sleep patterns is another indication, possibly, that the situation is related to low serotonin levels. Let's look at the next one. A lack of mental clarity. I just can't think straight right now. I just can't seem to get my thoughts in order. Or, it's just an unusual challenge for me to get through some of these thoughts. And if you can't keep the thought patterns, if it's disrupting your sleep, it's going to affect your thought patterns, your mental clarity, and the ability to think and to reason properly. And it may not be anything devastating. The first thing a lot of people think is, maybe this is the onset of Alzheimer's disease. But these things, if they are managed and cleared up, or if they are managed, they can definitely show the improvement that you're looking for, give you the relief from those thoughts, and protect you from those other anxieties that will come from possibly thinking you have a worse diagnosis or a different diagnosis. Let me give you some other information on serotonin, right? I want to talk to you now about how to increase levels of serotonin. Now, of course, there are injections, but again, I always, as a chaplain, and let me just pause to say, as a hospice chaplain or as a chaplain period, it is a tremendous privilege for me to be invited into the process of navigating through whatever challenges the sickness may be bringing, or whatever challenges of coping you may be experiencing, but getting to meet people and again helping them to navigate these challenges with coping mechanisms and strategies. So here are some non-pharmacological methods of increasing the levels of serotonin. So in addition to medication, and that is your doctor, you want to have those conversations with, here's something absolutely free, and it may not be readily available to you, depending on what part of the country you live in. That is natural sunlight. We are here, or I live in the Midwest, and we are in the winter season, and we get a lot of overcast days. It's gray, and we get those days where we actually feel the effect of the lack of natural sunlight. It's not in the mind. The natural sunlight gives you those increased vitamin D levels, and it also increases the production of serotonin. And then if you don't have the natural light, then you can get a light box and have some light there for you, perhaps near you. You don't want to put one in front of you and you're looking directly into it, but a light box or something that is providing a good amount of light. And spend time in front of that. It is suggested at least 20 minutes in the morning, either the natural sunlight or this light box or light source. 20 minutes in the beginning of the day can provide that vitamin D and that serotonin level that you need that will help you cope and continue to function normally with this season upon us. So that's another method. Again, 20 minutes a day. If you can do that, that's good. All right, then there are the foods that you may want to take in, and that's going to be things such as you want your protein. Protein does increase serotonin levels. So protein such as fish and eggs and nuts, cheeses, and these things, other proteins as well, will increase your serotonin levels. And these are even conversations that you'll have with your doctor, because increased protein levels do a lot of things to the body. So they're good for the body's bones and even the healing process of tissue. So protein can be good, but then too much protein can be a problem. So you get into the kidneys. So you don't want to just overdose on that and think this is going to be the end all clear, the be all end all. But you want to take them in moderation and find ways to just balance off and see what works for you, what levels work for you. So serotonin is very important. Serotonin is a natural chemical that is in your body. Your body is like a pharmacy. I tell you, it's like a pharmacy. You just need to know how to stimulate these hormones and use them for your advantage. And there's a lot to say about serotonin. So what we will do is probably come again to you on next week with more fascinating information about serotonin. And if you take these little notes, we try to keep them as succinct as possible. But if you'll take these live messages and just kind of store them, pass them on to someone that might be able to benefit from them, and continue to follow us, you'll learn natural ways to maintain good emotional and mental health, as well as impact your physical health. So again, I'm Dr. Valerie Simpson. I am a chaplain with Guardian Angel Hospice, a member of the Psych Social team, and I am your host for these programs. And we may bring some other people, maybe even some experts on that deal with these sicknesses or deal with these different conditions. And we'll do this so that you can have it at your fingertips. All right, with that, I want to say thank you for joining us today, and I hope that something has been said that is helpful to you. Remember again, Guardian Angel Hospice, we're around the country as well as here in the Midwest. I am speaking to you from the Metro Detroit area, but again, we're all over the state, and we're even as far away as California. We're around the country. So number there. As you can see it, dial that toll-free number and or go to our website, and we'll look forward to seeing you back with us on next week. Do share this.